The Housing Society is set to implement regular income checks to ensure that well-off households do not abuse the subsidized rental units. Latest U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods will have a minimal impact on Hong Kong, but authorities will closely monitor market sentiments, says Finance Minister Paul Chan. And a meltdown on Wall Street batters U.S. stocks after China retaliates with additional tariffs on all American imports. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Quentin Yang. The Housing Society is set to issue new tenancy terms for tenants in its rental estates in September, which requires regular income declaration aiming to fully implement its well-off tenants policy. Chairman Lin Kar-Ken reminded that those who refuse to comply must move out within 4 months. Evelyn Bai reports.
Managing 20 rental estates in the city, the second largest public housing provider reported that currently around 25,000 households are not yet included in the well-off tenants policies under the old leases. The new tenancy requires regular income and assets reporting, with surcharges of 1.5 to 2 times the rent for those exceeding asset limits.
咁而家嚟講咧，我哋好似係有9戶係交緊一啲加倍嘅租金嘅。
Taking to the airwaves, Lin said, among the 4,000 to 5,000 households who had signed the new agreements, only 9 households are paying additional rents, with 7 at 1.5 times and 2 at double the rate. Therefore, the figure saw minimal impact for tenants. When asked about potential legal risks for the new lease, Lin said, the Housing Society has carefully studied and sought legal advice to ensure their approach is justified, framing it as a fair use of public resources. Responding to a tenant's concerns that increased rents would strain their budgets, Lin said minor income exceeds might not significantly impact tenants, clarifying that family income exceeds by 2 to 3 times would pay 1.5 times the rent. He mentioned that since the implementation of the WTP and efforts to combat public housing abuse, 140 units have been reclaimed. He also added that they are considering options for well-off tenants to gain more chances of purchasing subsidized housing. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Meanwhile, the Housing Society's 2 latest subsidized housing projects in Fanling and Kwun Tong have drawn overwhelming demand, with over 6,600 applications received just days after the Tuesday launch, exceeding available units by more than threefold. The Hammer Fair project in Fanling offers 650 units, priced between $2.3 to $5.4 million, while the larger Hammer Emerald development in Kwun Tong provides 960 flats, ranging from $2.5 to $6.3 million. Both projects, set for April sales, are priced at 70% of market value. Units span 302 to 664 square feet, with 40% reserved for households with elderly members or newborns. Applications will close on April 14th, with successful candidates selected by lottery. Housing Society Chairman Lin Kar-Ken acknowledged the intense demand for affordable housing in the city and pledged to provide more resources in the future. He confirmed the organization's financial capacity to deliver future projects, citing a $12 billion syndicated loan secured last year to fund construction over the next 5 years, adding that the proceeds from these sales will be reinvested into new developments, ensuring a sustainable pipeline. Financial Secretary Paul Chan said the additional U.S. tariffs imposed on Chinese goods have a minimal direct impact on Hong Kong, but authorities will closely monitor market sentiments. Meanwhile, businesses in the city are having a mixed bag of views, with some seeing this as an opportunity since inflation in the U.S. is set to spike, driving more Americans to come to spend in Hong Kong. Evelyn Bai reports.
個間接影響係遠遠大過直接影響嘅。
With the new U.S. tariffs kicking in soon, Finance Chief Paul Chan noted that Hong Kong's direct exports and re-exports to the U.S. do not account for a large proportion of the total exports. Therefore, the increase in tariffs will have little direct impact on the city. Yet, he acknowledged that any indirect impact could not be underestimated, especially how the financial markets react. The government will monitor the market situation and prepare different contingency plans. Meanwhile, business leaders are holding different views. Speaking on a radio program, lawmaker Sonny Tan, who represents the textile and garment sector, said the industry, especially those without prior planning to shift their production to other countries, felt powerless because of the new tariffs, prompting the industry to transform and upgrade themselves.
Speaking
on the same program, Chairman of the Hong Kong Shippers Council, Willie Lin, held a more optimistic view, saying that the new tariffs may lead to price hikes in the U.S., making goods relatively cheaper in Hong Kong, which may in turn attract American consumers to spend in the city. Calling on businesses to look for new markets, former president of the Chinese Manufacturers Association, Alan Shi, said that China, with a population of 1.4 billion, has a huge domestic market, and that even we develop part of the consumer market, it would be enough to make up for the loss of the export markets. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Traffic was significantly disrupted on Fanling Highway near Wong Hop Shack after a water pipe burst this morning. The incident happened at a road construction site, where a 200mm diameter potable water supply pipe burst at around 10 a.m., releasing a massive flow of muddy water mixed with sand and gravel. Vehicles traveling in both directions on the highway were affected, slowing down to pass through the muddy road. Some drivers reported that their car windows were struck by the debris. Police temporarily closed 4 lanes of traffic and alerted the Water Supplies Department and the Civil Engineering and Development Department for repairs. The WSD said the burst pipe did not affect water supplies to nearby residents, as they completed a diversion of the water supply. Pet parents now have more options to bring their furry children around the city during weekends and public holidays, as Kowloon Motor Bus has launched new routes of its pet bus. Evelyn Bai has the story.
The foggy and rainy weather today failed to stop pet parents who have already purchased their tickets in advance from waiting at the bus stop early and bring their pets around the city. Running around on the double-decker bus before settling down, the journey has already begun for them before the bus actually departed. This woman says she came to support the service, as taking a taxi would be more expensive. And the bus is the most pet-friendly option, since her dog can hop on and off without being kept in a carrier. However, she said it was not too convenient to buy tickets, suggesting upgrading the system to show more accurate bus times. This bus driver said driving the pet route is more comfortable and enjoyable, as he felt happy seeing happy owners and pets. Each human passenger can pay $60 to bring one pet for unlimited rides throughout the day on one route, or $90 for 2 passengers with 1 pet. The brand new pet bus departs from various locations across the city every weekends and on designated public holidays, heading to 4 popular pet-friendly destinations, including Go Park Sai Sha, the West Kowloon Cultural District, the East Coast Boardwalk in North Point, and Ma Wan. 6 months since its launch, the pet bus service has already transported nearly 10,000 happy pet owners and their beloved companions. Part of the proceeds will be donated to animal welfare organizations. Apart from KMB, MTR has also rolled out pet-friendly routes on its light rail system, allowing pet lovers to take their pets out hassle-free. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
The former Kai-Tak quarantine facility will officially reopen this October as a youth-focused development complex under a winning bid secured by a subsidiary of state-owned China Tourism Group. The announcement, confirmed today by Home and Youth Affairs Secretary Alice Mack, marks a major step in repurposing the pandemic-era site into a low-cost living and activity space for young people. The government's tender process, launched last December and finalized in February, selected the CTG subsidiary along the CTG Development and Dorset Hospitality International as supporting partners to operate the facility under a 5-year self-financed lease. The operator will transform 60% of the modular complex into budget accommodations, with the remainder hosting arts, cultural exchanges, and youth development programs as outlined in Chief Executive's 2024 policy address, according to Mack. Officials say the phased rollout will prioritize launching basic hostel services by October, followed by curated cultural events. Pricing and booking details for the hostel remain under wraps, but authorities pledge affordability. Wall Street suffered an overnight meltdown, battering U.S. stocks after China retaliated with tit-for-tat tariffs, escalating a global trade war. Sachin Katvi reports.
The Friday closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange was more of a wake-up call for financial markets around the world after stocks on Wall Street tumbled 5.5%, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average shedding more than 2,200 points. This was the Dow's biggest drop since March 2020 during the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. The tariff war triggered by US President Donald Trump has wiped off $5 trillion in market value from the S&P 500, which tracks the performance of 500 leading corporations in the United States. Following the announcement of reciprocal tariffs by Trump, Beijing has filed a lawsuit through the World Trade Organization's dispute settlement mechanism, challenging the US levies. China has also retaliated yesterday by imposing an additional 34% duty on all imports from the US. Analysts and investors have cautioned that the dramatic escalation of a trade war could plunge the US and global economies into a recession. The frantic sell-off unleashed by Trump's decision also hammered stocks in Europe and Asia. UK's FTSE closed at a 5-year low, plunging 5%. Facing a potential drop in demand, the price of crude oil tumbled 13% in the past 2 days to close at just below $62 per barrel. However, investors retained their confidence in gold, which ended its 5-week winning streak but still outperformed equity markets, falling just 2.5% to hover above $3,000 per ounce. Sachin Katvi, Cable News.
On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy with sunny intervals tomorrow. Some isolated showers with temperatures ranging between 19 and 24 degrees. It will get warmer midweek next week. And that's our news tonight. I'm Quentin Yang. Thank you for watching. Good night.